Hey y'all, and welcome back to the No Rules Just Vibes podcast. I'm your host Maya Angel, and thanks so much for tuning in to another episode. I have a special guest this week. Her name is Jasmine Newson, and y'all, I am so excited to have her on the show. This is about to be an amazing segment, and I'm so glad to have her here. But like I do every week, y'all, before we get started, I just want to give her a chance to introduce herself so y'all can get to know her. So go ahead, Jasmine.
Hi, guys. I am so happy to be here and was so excited when Maya reached out. I am a speaker, a writer, and a humanitarian. I am currently founding my own nonprofit called UC Beyond, helping young people identify their purpose. And I have a website with a blog, jasminenewson.com. I'll be launching very soon. And I think that's about it for me.
Y'all. Baby, she's amazing. Like she's serving very humble teas right now, but I love it. Y'all, if you're and we're talking about purpose today anyway, so that's right on topic, but definitely right, definitely check her out if you're in just like this season of trying to figure things out and trying to you're not really sure about what you should be doing, or you're just kind of in a season of uncertainty. Definitely check Jasmine out. She is the person that you need. So with that being said, let's get started. I just kind of want to just kind of jump right into it. And it's something that I've been dealing with. And like y'all know, if I'm dealing with it, I feel like somebody else has to be dealing with it too. So that's what we're gonna talk about. So in my overall opinion, I think one of the hardest parts of just growing is the purging that happens when you're trying to operate in your gift and walk in your purpose. So particularly just having to let go of things or people that have just outlived their purpose in your life. So that's kind of where I am. I guess what do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
Woo! I think that might be one of the hardest parts about purpose because I think we all move into purpose expecting our lives to continue to be comfortable.
Yes.
And we don't even realize how comfortable we are until we start taking those steps and we have to start losing things, people, come out of seasons, come out of bad habits and things like that. And so that is, I think, one of the most difficult parts. But if you let things stay in your life past their expiration date, then you will experience things you're not supposed to. And so, listen, I always think about how milk spoils. And so every time there's an expiration date in our refrigerator with the milk, we know that it spoils, but we know that also past that expiration date, especially if it goes way past it, it turns into another form. It goes from liquid to solid. And I think that is what ends up happening when we stay in a situation too long, when we have people in our life past their expiration date, is they take on different forms. And you experience things you weren't ever supposed to experience because you were supposed to release and let that go. And so I've had things like that happen in my life where God was like, you need to let that go. You need to let that person go. It's time for you to leave that job. And I wouldn't listen. And those things would become toxic in my life because I allowed them to stay past their expiration date. And so that's how important it is. It's hard. Don't get me wrong. People say, let go, like all kind of stuff like that. Or you outgrown, people put, I think, really big life lessons into these little small quotes on social media. And they'll give you, this 1, 2, 3-step process, but it's not that easy.
Right.
It take you a while to walk away from things, especially that you're comfortable in, but it's so necessary. And when you start realizing that every single step I take away from this thing, something in my life continues to happen. So that means that this is purpose, and I need to do this for my own purpose.
Child. I knew you was gonna preach today, but I didn't know you was gonna read me the way you just did. Like, girl. Oh my God. Did y'all hear that? I mean, I need y'all to let that resonate for a second. Because I think a lot of us tend to, I just love that comparison to milk. Just like, I think a lot of us tend to hold on to things or just let things stay in our space or in our lives past the expiration date. And something that was good for that season and for that moment and for that time, that may not necessarily be,
Yes.
it can turn into, like you said, something completely toxic once it has outlived its purpose. Once it has, that expiration date has taken place or has happened, like it's time. I don't know. I'm floored right now because I needed that as much as like I don't know who else is listening needed that, but I needed that. But okay, I guess knowing that, I think let's talk about the power of subtraction because I think a lot of times people don't. You feel like you lose something, like when something, you have to let something go, or something outlives its purpose. Sometimes we look at that as a negative thing, like we've lost something. And so when I say, the power of subtraction, why I think sometimes we have to remember that um that's necessary for us to get clarity sometimes, and I think just in order to hear from God, or just to get that stillness that we need to be able to get, that direction. Because sometimes we're just distracted. Like it's hard to get to your purpose and your passion and finding your lane and finding what steps you need to take when you're distracted. And so sometimes, you need to subtract, or God will subtract for you. Because
your decision or his forced hand.
right, because you'll be holding on and it's like, God, what happened? Like, what happened? I thought I was doing everything right. Like, what was up with that? So, I guess let's talk about just like the power of subtraction and why that stillness may be necessary to hear from God when you're trying to operate in your purpose and walk in your gift.
Yeah, that is a really good question. Once again, I give an analogy because I feel like that is how people really understand things.
I love it.
But I feel like, how we have to wear our bags before we get on a flight. And some people be getting so mad, like, oh, why they won't let me go over 50 pounds? They cannot. There is only a certain weight requirement that can be on the plane. And that is why you can only have a certain amount of bags and a certain amount of weight and anything like that. And so I think the object of subtraction is understanding that everything and everybody can't come with you. I think some of us understand that everybody can't come with us, but they don't understand the process of what that means. So when we pray things like, God, if they're not supposed to be in my life, take them out. We don't pray for the strength to handle when they have to leave. We always say these things, and then we don't have the strength, nor are we prepared when he's like, cool, got it. Like, was waiting on you to ask that. So it's just like how some women get so mad when they have to take things out of their bag. They always have to take things out of their bag, and they're like, oh my gosh, I really needed that. But it was like, you knew the weight requirement before you got here. Yet, you still tried it. And when it's time for you to take flight, to walk into your purpose, to really do this thing that you say that you want to do, that you're surrendering to, everything and everybody cannot come. And when I say everything, I'm talking about that self-doubt. I'm talking about those feelings of unworthiness. I'm talking about that low self-esteem. You think it's being humble, but it's borderline low self-esteem. All of that. Period. All of that cannot go with you. And yes, it sucks. Nobody really talks about what it means to let go of things. Yeah. We say these cultural colloquialisms like they're really going to help somebody. Let go and let God. Okay. Well, it took me about a year or two to let go. So where is God here? Like, I'm struggling in this season. And so I think there are moments where we feel like we got to do all this stuff on our own. And when you do try to do it on your own, it is a huge, difficult problem. Like, it hurts. It's like, I don't even know how I'm going to get through this. But it's the fact that you have to give that to God. God, when I do let this go, could you help me make sure that I actually let it go? Because a lot of us will let go of something, we'll surrender in one season, and we'll go back in the next season and pick that thing right back up because it's we are comfortable with chaos. We're comfortable with things that we've lived with for a long time. All those mindsets and things like that. There's a reason you go back to those things, and it's because you're not staying consistent in that process. And so I think subtraction is, not only is it important, but it's essential for you to take flight. It is essential. There is no way that you can bring all of those bags onto that flight if you think that you're trying to go somewhere. And that's why, like, Erykah Badu, she didn't even know. She was preaching in that song. Bag lady, listen. She said, you gonna get left. You can't take everything with you. Yeah. And sometimes we want to take everything and everybody and think that we're gonna make it, but you'll find yourself struggling a lot more in purpose if you feel the need to take everything and everybody with you. You cannot. It's just absolutely no way that you can do it. And it sucks, I know. But like, how bad do you want to fulfill the purpose that God has in your life? That is what you have to start asking yourself. Girl. Then you have to start saying, God, if you took that person, if you took this thing, then that means that it was meant to be gone. And I don't have anything else to say about it, God. Like, I'm going to have to make sure that I release this in this season right now. And so it's easier said than done, but it's necessary.
Child. Baby.
It's
Wow.
so country. I love it.